Hey everyone, welcome back to Lake Camden. So I think last time that we did a video, I think I said that I was going to work on the Emporium last time. Episode 3 would be the Emporium shop. However, now I'm waiting on the update 6 to come out because that's going to have souvenir shops in it. So that's not what we're doing in this episode. This episode is actually going to be a like a retro vintage fueling station that I built. And this is going to function like a stroller rental place as you come into the park. So very similar to how Hollywood Studios and Disney's California Adventure do their stroller rental places as well. This functions very similarly. I didn't copy the exact design of either of those parks. I took a random like retro fueling station from somewhere in Tennessee that I really liked, and I built that here, and it functions the exact same way. So we're going to put that into our main street at the very beginning as soon as you cross the bridge. I don't know, I think I show it here in a little while at the end of the video, but you're going to see the actual main street itself. I spent some time last week focusing on redoing that because I wasn't really happy with it. It was a little too tight for what I wanted it to look like, and so I took some time last week and I fixed that. One of the things that I really wanted for this park was a river cross, like going in front of the in between the entrance building and the actual main street itself. So you cross across. It's not really a river, but it's like a stream. So it's a stream with like some water effects to make it look like it's flowing pretty quickly. And then there's two bridges that cross over into it. And I don't know if I show it at the end of this video, but we'll see here in just a couple of minutes from what I recorded. So anyway, yeah, this is just a historic fueling station that I found in Tennessee. I used Google Street View to get some of the dimensions and things like that. But I thought it was really cool and really interesting concept. I think it fits right in with the Main Street vibe that we're going for. Again, I don't have a lot of rules for myself with this specific project, Lake Camden. I'm just kind of doing it as I go. I've got some ideas for what I want it to look like and like other like lands and things like that we're going to be working on. But as far as like, a cohesive theme, there's not really one. I just want to see what I can do in Planet Coaster 2, so that's kind of what this park functions as. It's taking me a little longer than I anticipated to get this done, just because work's been busy and things like that. So my my outside job, my actual full-time job, has been pretty busy lately, so I haven't had a ton of time to play around with the game. But I did get in here the other night and I built this. And like I said, I'm still waiting on souvenir shops to come down the line. Originally, I was going to do the Emporium next as this episode. And it's finished for the most part, like the outside's finished. I haven't done the inside just yet, but we're going to do that in probably the next episode once souvenir shops come down the line and I can actually detail it a little bit more. This fueling station, I will say, I think I got a little too into the nitty gritty with it. It was not hard, but I am very focused on realism with this building for some reason. I mean, I am with all the buildings, but for some reason I really wanted this one to be to scale, and I wanted it to be hyper realistic, so that's kind of what I went for here. And so it took me a little longer to actually complete it than what I would have initially anticipated, but I think it turned out really nice, and I think it will be a really cool addition to the main street once we pull it in here in a little while. You'll see that. I build most of these buildings not on the actual main street itself. I will build them off the main street, and then I will pull it in at the end once I'm finished building. And honestly, throughout like the building process, I'll pull it in a little bit, and then I'll Control Z it back to its original location so I can continue building it. But this just helps me to make sure that it's not like, I'm not grabbing another building or something when I'm trying to like bulk move it or something. I can do all of that work out here and then pull it in once it's mostly complete. So in this building, we're doing a full interior as well. I think that was one thing that I said earlier on in this series, is that I want to do a lot of these buildings with full interiors. I realize now that's not going to be super doable for every single building, but for this one and like the ice cream parlor, which I've started working on the interior on that as well, and the Emporium, I'm going to be doing full interiors. So back to this fueling station, you can see we've created this overhang here, and now I'm working on these concrete, I don't know what you call these, concrete like just things out in the fueling station parking lot where the actual gas pumps would sit. And so I do create those here in a second, and you'll see them. And this is the top of the building here. This is like those, like where the sign would be for the actual fueling station itself. I really like how it turned out in the overall overhang. I think it looks really nice. And then we are going to create some actual gas pumps here in a second. And those gas pumps, I will say, they are a ton of pieces to actually make them work. I think they turned out really nice, but it was a lot more than what I anticipated in terms of like actual piece count. But I think it looks pretty good. So I actually I'm obsessed with how this turned out, actually. I think it looks really nice at the end. You'll see it here in the main street, and I think it looks really good where it is. and how it functions overall. That's one of the biggest things for me though in Planet Coaster 2 is I can build buildings all day long, like it's fine. I usually take a lot of inspiration from like outside, like external actual buildings in real life, and I just put those into Planet Coaster. But when it comes to actual park layout, I have a really tough time figuring out what I want it to look like, and detailing with like foliage and stuff like that to make it look realistic. So that's kind of one area that I struggle. So I'm gonna start working more on like the main street, making it look more realistic and things like that. I just have a really hard time with figuring out where do paths stop and where do you have like, what should be a fence and where should the foliage go and things like that. I don't know if that makes sense, but it's one thing that I really struggle with. I can build, like I said, these buildings all day long, no problem. I really enjoy it, but when it comes to the actual finer details of pathing and things like that, I struggle. So I did rework the main street. It took me some time, but I think it looks a lot better than what it did originally. And here I am building the actual gas pumps themselves, and you can see that already it's a ton of pieces. I absolutely love these shapes, the shape pieces. I think they are insane for what we can do with them and what we can make with them. I mean, you can practically make almost anything that you want to in this game with the shape pieces, but not only that, but the scaling as well. So something that we didn't have in Planet Coaster 1. You could do a lot in Planet Coaster 1, but now with Planet Coaster 2 and like the scaling and things like that, it's insane. I mean, you can really just make whatever you want. And so that's what I did here. I wanted to see if I wanted to pressure myself or task myself, I guess, to see if I could actually create these gas pumps that I saw in the Google Street View. And I think they turned out really nice. I don't think they're perfect by any means, but I think they turned out really good for what we're going for here. And I used these new electrical cords from the sci-fi theme that we got in the last update as the like the pump or whatever, or the hose on the side to fill your car up with gas. So yeah, I thought it turned out really nice. Here I am working on some signage. This is actually, I did take a lot of inspiration from the Disney Hollywood Studios stroller station signs. I think they turned out really nice here and they look really good. So I'll pull those up into the building itself here in a second. One other thing that I wanted to mention is that I think on the main street, which I haven't really shown in depth yet, you've seen it like in the flyovers and things like that, but what I really want to do is an old time streetcar going down the middle of the path, I guess, in the middle of the street. And that's kind of one of the reasons that I wanted to widen it, is I want to create those like faux tracks in the middle of the street and then have a streetcar going down the middle with one of the coaster cars or something like that. I haven't really finalized how I'm going to make that work just yet, because there's not enough room for the streetcar to actually turn at the end of the main street with how it's built. But we will figure that out when we get to it. But I think that would look really nice in this main street, since it's like a historic town vibe, I guess. I think that will be really interesting. It's really cool how this park has changed from my initial vision of it. When I first started playing around with it, it was going to be like think like a state park turned theme park sort of thing. I don't know. It was going to have a lot of like this parkitecture type buildings and things like that. And just over time, I totally went a different route, and now it's a more of like a traditional main street that doesn't have really any forced perspective or anything like that, but it's turned into more of a traditional main street. And like I said, just playing around with what I can do in Planet Coaster. I have a lot of other ideas of things that I want to do, other park projects and stuff, but this has kind of sucked me in for right now, and so I really want to finish this up. And we're still only on the main street, so it's going to take some time for us to get to the actual like themed areas, which I want to get to soon, because I feel like once you work on an area for so long, you get bored with it and you want to work on something else. So I'm excited to start working on the Festival Farms area, and I've got some ideas for a second area as well, but I don't think this park's going to be huge at all. What I really like about this part here is just the insane lighting details in Planet Coaster 2. I mean, you can see that as I was adding shapes to the roof to create that ceiling, it was dark, making it dark on the inside, which is crazy. I mean, it's crazy. The difference from Planet Coaster 1 to Planet Coaster 2, the lighting is awesome. You can see it's actually dark inside, which I think is really cool, and it'll make for some cool dark rides as well in this park. I think we'll have probably one small dark ride. Think like Dollywood's Blazing Fury or something like that. Nothing super expensive. Even though I'm not giving myself a ton of rules for this park, I realize that a park like this size probably would not have something on the scale of, I don't know, like Gringotts or something at Universal Studios. It's going to be more low budget, and I want to maintain that level of realism at least, and not be super crazy with the overall park itself. Here are some lights that I'm creating for the stroller rental section. I have not made the strollers yet. I know there's some on the workshop, but I wanted to try to make some strollers myself just to see if I could. I haven't created those yet, so you won't see those in this episode, but we're just doing some finer details here. I do anticipate coming back in here. I didn't do a ton. I just did some fine detailing on the walls and stuff like that, but I'm going to come back in here once Update 6 drops with the souvenir shops and add some like board games and postcard carousels and things like that here to this little part of the counter that you're seeing that I'm detailing now, and then like hopefully some hanging bags or something. I don't know if we get that in the souvenir update, but things like that around the corners, because that's how it's done in Hollywood Studios and California Adventure. They have some extra like sellable items in here as well, so I think we'll do the same thing as well. Just some last minute detailing on the counter itself. I'm really excited with how this turned out, and thank you guys for joining today's video, and I will see you on the next one.